What's going on, Fragrance family? It's your man Gator, better known as the novice knows out here in these fragrance streets. And today I'm coming to you guys with the follow-up review of a fragrance that I did an unboxing and first impressions for about a month or so ago. Now, this fragrance had gotten a good bit of buzz in the fragrance community because of what it was actually inspired by. This is the fragrance in question, by the way. If you can't tell by the bottle, beautiful bottle, by the way, that cut glass and everything, this is FragranceWorld's Aether, as you can see here. And FragranceWorld's Aether Extrait. Please say the extrait on this, man. This one is an inspired by parfumsdemarly's GREENLEY. GREENLEY was kind of an enigma out there in the fragrance community because it was a parfumsdemarly fragrance that was actually a freshie. It was more of a spring summer scent, which parfumsdemarly didn't do a whole lot of. I mean, you've got Sedley, of course, but GREENLEY tended to be their most popular, and for good reason. I mean, it had the apple, it had the woodiness, you know, it was a little bit of a different type of freshie that was out on the market. So I had been looking for an inspired by of that particular fragrance for a long time, and I think a lot of people had. We were all looking for something that was going to kind of capture what the essence of GREENLEY was without capturing the money that we were going to have to pay for that GREENLEY product. And when this one came around, it got a lot of people excited, including me, because of who made this. FragranceWorld, all right? So FragranceWorld, Frenchavenue, had been putting out and has been putting out some really close or really good inspired buys to a lot of these niche brand DNAs. So was definitely excited to pick this up, and as you saw in the unboxing about a month or so ago, I was really impressed by it, you know, under first impressions. I mean, when I smelled it, it had the, and let me get a little bit on it on the hand right now here, but when I smelled it, I was like, oh yeah, this smells like GREENLEY. It smelled a little bit more synthetic, but GREENLEY's not the most you know, natural smelling either. But this one embodied the essence of what GREENLEY actually was, at least from the first impression. Like that first impression that I did pick up something that seemed a little bit sharp. And I thought I think I said it was like a cashmerean or something like that. So after further review of it, and after really being able to sit down with it and smell it, it actually was probably the cedar note in here that is definitely cheap, a cheaper version of that cedar. And shout out to TLTG Reviews, because he actually pointed that out when he did a review of it. Well, you know, my biggest issue with it at the time was that I felt like it was kind of light in the ass a little bit, right? So I threw this in the maceration drawer, maturation, whatever you would call it. My wife calls it the masturbation drawer. I don't know why, but anyway, I threw this in my maturation drawer, and I just kind of let it sit for about 3 weeks to a month. And when I came back to it, it had turned into a bit of a beast of a fragrance, or at least a beast of an inspired by. So, of course, it has all of those facets of GREENLEY that you love. It's got that apple, that fresh, crisp apple at the top of the particular fragrance. And that's what you get when you initially spray this particular fragrance. You get the apple, and you get a bit of an overdose of the cedar in here, a bit of the wood. So you're getting a good bit of that apple and a good bit of that wood at the top, right? So into my nose, what that does is it actually comes across a little bit more masculine than the initial blast that you get from GREENLEY. GREENLEY is a little bit, to my nose at least, the apple is a little fresher and it comes across as a little bit sweeter. This one doesn't really come across as sweet at all, and I'm starting to think that GREENLEY doesn't come across as sweet as it is. It's just that the woods don't peak their way in until it gets a little bit further into the dry down. This one, you get hit with the wood straight at the top. Pause. but you get hit with it as soon as you spray this particular fragrance. I mean, it really does hit you. And again, I think it is what other people have said is that it's got a bit of a cheaper cedar oil that they use in here that just kind of jumps out at you from the top, but you still get that lightness of the apple. So it's not an abusive or a super abrasive type of cedar note. It's just very, very noticeable at the top. So when you first spray it on, that's what you're getting. You're getting a good dose of that apple and a good dose of that cedar. Now, when people say that Greenleaf smells like a luxury apple shampoo, I definitely get it. This was a little bit less of the luxury shampoo in it when you first smell it, and I think it's because of the wood. The wood actually balances that out a little bit here. Before I even go any further, let me go into the note breakdown on this one, because I didn't even think about doing that for you guys. So top notes of this particular fragrance are green apple, bergamot, and mandarin orange. The middle notes are cedar, petitgrain, violet, and cashmeran. So that actually was some of the cashmeran that I was smelling initially. And then of course the base notes are musk, oak moss, and amberwood. So you definitely get that apple, you definitely get that cedar, and you definitely get that cashmeran, and they all play a part in how this smells. Now this does come across a little bit more synthetic than Greenleaf does, of course, but it actually comes across very fresh, and in my opinion actually comes across a little bit more masculine because of the woods in here than of the original Greenleaf. So as far as like the longevity of the fragrance, that was the biggest difference when I first got this out of the maturation. When I had done the test sprays on it, this was gone maybe off of my skin in about maybe 2 hours. And it was super light the majority of the time that I had it on skin. After that maturation process, this actually stayed on my skin. It stays on my skin. It's somewhere in the range of about 4 to 5 hours. So that's a definite increase. On clothes, it actually stays a little bit longer. Gives me about that 7 to 8 hour. 7 to 8 hours on clothes. Projection wise, it's a sneaky projector because of the chemicals in here, the syntheticness of it. You don't smell it. You go nose blind to it a lot faster than other people do. But I guarantee you, when you walk in a room 3 to 4 hours into the life of this fragrance, people smell you. They definitely do, and I know this for a fact because when I've worn it at work since then, I mean 5 to 6 hours in the day, I'll walk into the break room and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you smell good. What is that?" That means that it's literally projecting off of me at that 5 to 6 hour mark. So if you're thinking that it's just not there at all on you after 5 hours, 9 times out of 10 it probably is still there. It's just you're nose blind to it and it's too faint for you to pick up wafts on your skin at all. So keep that in mind. This is pretty linear. It doesn't go through a lot of changes and, you know, that dried out. Neither does Greenleaf. I mean, it's basically blended to be what it's gonna be from the opening spray. This is the same way. It's blended to be what it's gonna be at the opening spray. And even though that cedar does kind of calm down, the sharpness of the cedar starts to calm down around that 3 hour mark, you still pick up the cedar, you still pick up a slight bit of that apple, and you get into that cashmeran. And like I said, that's kind of what it is. It's not one that changes a lot. It kind of stays linear. The only thing that does kind of change is you start to get more cashmeran and less apple as you kind of move into the life of the fragrance. Sillage on this thing is definitely nice. This is one that when you walk by people, they don't pick up the syntheticness that that you pick up to your nose. And that, I mean, what they get when you pass by them is literally the same thing that you get when you pass by someone when you're wearing Greenley. They pick up that fresh apple, that little tint of apple in the air, and they pick up that little bit of wood with this one. I would say you have a good sillage going, probably about into the 4 to 5 hour mark of this particular fragrance. I love it. I do. I think this is a very good interpretation of that Greenley DNA. It is almost, if it wasn't for the cedar, that overdose of cedar, or maybe not even an overdose of cedar, the cheap cedar that they put in this one, I think that you'd be looking at a 1-to-1 with Greenley. But if you're looking for a budget-friendly alternative to Greenley, this is definitely the way to go. This one, like I said, after it matures, and I guess that's the caveat, after it matures, you're going to have something that's going to be a fairly long-lasting fragrance. It's not going to get you into the beast mode 10-hour mark, nothing like that, but it'll be a decent lasting freshie that you'll be glad to have in the collection. And it does offer something unique enough to where, you know, you'll stand out in the crowd. That's all I got on this particular fragrance. Let me know how you've experienced it. What's been your experience with this particular fragrance? Let me know in the comments, man. And make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone you know that loves fragrances, man. Until next time, peace out. This is good, man. This is really, really good. Please say that extrait.